At a time when society is putting more and more pressure on us to wear nice shoes, people like myself are starting to think, why bother with shoes at all, even when running? Runningbarefoot.org is an internet institution. It will have been running for 10 years come next year, and it's the forerunner of all the barefoot running sites on the web. It's no running joke. Ken Bob, the man who runs this website, shouldn't be confused with the spiritual healer, the Barefoot Doctor, who I ran into at the Latitude Festival last summer and couldn't feature because he was far too odd.
And then you're here, and then you're there.
Great times. But anyway, Ken the Barefoot Runner ran the Las Vegas Marathon last week, barefoot, and he runs to work an hour and back every day, barefoot. I decided to give him a call.
Hey, this is Ken.
Donal says, raise your left arm. And just back down, that's lovely.
Back down.
And Donal says, raise your right arm. And then this is maybe a little bit more of a tricky one. If you could hop as opposed to run, and don't worry about the camera jigging up and down.
Okay.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Your souls must have transformed, and they must be very different to normal human beings' souls. What kind of man-made material? To liken it to a shoe?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a man-made substance. Basically, they're like leather, but not that hard, shiny patent leather. They're actually more like, the old-style moccasin, very natural, soft leather.
And I wondered, just in terms of sort of women and stuff, do you think women are far more attractive without their shoes?
Oh, absolutely. Of course, there's exceptions to that because their feet are, in many cases, so deformed from wearing, those high-heeled, pointy-toed shoes. They have bunions and stuff growing out the sides of their feet. But if they went barefoot more often, a lot of that would disappear, or at least fade away, partially.
Have you ever thought that we're all connected in some way? I have, and I was right because we are. I can say that because at the Global Consciousness Project, they've developed special golden measuring eggs, like this one, drop them all over the earth, and then use them somehow to work out just how aware all of humanity has been every second for the past 8 years. So when a good thing like the Olympics or a bad thing like a terrorist bomb happens, a complicated graph of some numbers changes to show that we are all connected. Right, well now you know that, the question is, how will you harness it for the good? Doesn't really matter what you think, because these two people have got the plan.
So we came up with the idea of a synchronized global orgasm.
So, this Friday the 22nd of December is Global Orgasm Day, where it's hoped millions of people will suffer an orgasm whilst thinking very hard about peace, and as a result, shift the global average consciousness very much to the good side.
We got the idea of maybe we could stop the war, my seventh war, of going into Iraq by doing something different.
So we're hoping that women will initiate the global orgasm? Is that what you're saying?
Well, why not?
This is definitely one of the sweetest ideas I've come across on the internet, and I for one will be taking part. The only problem is, it's very unlikely the results of Orgasm Day will ever be broadcast, as it seems that the media have made a very recent U-turn when it comes to sex. If you remember, I made my very own TV pilot to encourage openness in the family, but it really didn't receive the positive feedback I'd been expecting. In fact, I've been advised that it's not going to be commissioned at all, as it's far too focused on sex for a TV audience, so I don't really see much hope for Global Orgasm Day either. Instead, I've been advised by telly executives that they'd much rather go for something to do with hobbies and crafts. So with that in mind, here is my second TV pilot. Hi there, and welcome back to another edition of Will She Take It Up? This week, the arts. Today I'll be finding out if women in general have enough time to take up the arts, or whether they've got enough on their plate already. So, will you take up the arts?
No.
No.
No. No. Yes.
No. Now and again.
No.
No. My brother does, I don't.
So, it seems that women around here are very unlikely to take it up. You know, the arts. Join us next week where we'll be asking the question, will she take it up? Bridge. Yes, it's Christmas. But save from bombarding me with a whole load of snow-covered pop-up adverts, the internet has really done not a lot to get me into the spirit of things this year. All that's really taken my interest has been this advent calendar that's been customised to house beer cans every day instead of chocolate. But I don't think that's much to be proud of, do you? It seems as if people really aren't getting into Christmas at all this year. Maybe they have no understanding as to why we celebrate it, or maybe they're just a little confused. I thought I should clear things up and explain the true story of Christmas. And I thought the best thing for me to do was to dress up as a matador. The metaphor matador is moving towards the laundrette. Here, the matador represents Joseph. He is entering the laundrette, or stable, to be with his wife, Mary, or this washing machine. It's the first time the machine has ever cleaned anything, but now inside it, or her, is the matador's cape, Jesus. But the matador never put any tokens in the machine. So how did his cape end up in Mary at all? He is confused and wonders whether another man might have put the tokens in. But then he is comforted by the laundrette owner, or God, who explains that this wash is on him. Mary's spinning comes to an end. The matador is apprehensive, but he opens her up and takes out his washing, his cape, or Jesus, or the Son of God. Mary is tired, and she must rest now. Well, it's the end of the show once more, but Christmas Day is fast approaching, so may I remind you, come Christmas morning, to run downstairs and open our blog, as there will be a little surprise waiting for you. But most importantly, have a very nice time with all of my friends and family.